So I'm getting ready to start my first long distance hike of the training season. My plan is to do a hike that I'm hoping is about 24 miles long. It starts out with about a 7.5 mile uphill, and then I do about a 4 mile downhill. At that point, if my legs are too tired, I can bail out. But then I can reverse course and come back to where I started, and it should be about 24 miles round trip. At least that's what my hope is. So, my legs feel good. I'm feeling really pretty rested this morning, and I'm looking forward to the hike. The sun has just basically come up over the mountains, and frankly, most of the mountain is still in shadow. It's probably going to be another hour before the sun clears the peaks. But it should be a beautiful day, a beautiful hike, and at the end of the hike, we'll see what condition my legs are in. So, I've been on the trail for about a mile now, and this is a vantage point that gives a little bit of a better idea of what I'm going to be doing. I hope there's enough light to see. But if you see that rock right there in the middle, I'm about an hour and 20 minutes from that rock. And so at that point of that rock, the trail starts turning south, and I will be doing a series of switchbacks, continuing to climb up to that mountain. And then where that mountain reaches, that point there, where you can see that V, right about there is where a place called Rudy's Flat is located. And that will take me to the top of the climb. That'll be about a 7.5 mile climb. It will take me to the top of a place called North Canyon, and then it'll be about 4 miles down that canyon to my bailout point if I need it, and where I have a fluid storage. But this gives a little bit of a better idea. I know it must seem kind of funny that it's going to take me so long to get to that rock, but there are two deep side canyons that are north-south tending side canyons that I have to go through in order to get back on the trail heading eastbound up to the rock. So, away I go. So I just wanted to take a video of another one of these really big trees. You can see by my stick, let me just see if I can get that in. You can see by my stick, that stick is 36 inches. So if you look at how far it's extending, the trunk is extending beyond the right and left points of my stick, this tree is easily 250 years old, if not older. Taking it up, and then the amazing thing about this tree, way out there, this tree's probably going up about 60 feet. Amazing thing about this tree is just 10 feet to the left, there's another one, equally as old. God, you gotta love these tall trees. These tall, big trees. Man. So, I'm now at the highest point on this trail. I'm somewhere between 7,200 feet and 7,500 feet. And looking across at this mountain, this is the area that I just came up. I may have given a wrong distance before. I don't know if I said at that backcountry campsite that I was 5.5 miles in or 7.5 miles in, but it's actually 7.5 miles. So at that point I catched about 2 pounds of water off my backpack, and I swear it feels like I took off 10. So from here I'm going to hike about another 1/4 mile, and then I'll be at the top of North Canyon. Ferns always amaze me. They're a semi-tropical fern. A botanist told me once that they're more tropical than semi-tropical. But we're up here on the mountain. We're at about 6,000 feet. Look how fern-like they are. And this area gets such a ferocious winter. It's hard to believe that a plant like this can come back every year. It gets buried under feet and feet of snow, freezing, sub-zero winds. And yet look how lush they come back. And so I made it to the 11.5 mile mark, which is a halfway point. Now the hike really begins. I've got a 7.5 mile uphill and a 4.5 mile downhill. Made the first distance of 11.5 miles. Did it in a little under 4.5 hours, which is a pretty good time. So we'll just have to see if I've got the starch to be able to make the second half of this hike. I did make an arrangement with my wife that I can turn around anytime over the next 3 miles and walk back to this point, and she'll drive up and pick me up. And if I can make it the 3.5 miles, then it's really pretty much 50-50. So I'll probably be able to do the rest of the way. So we'll just see what happens. This is really kind of early in my training to do a hike this far, but we'll see what happens. It's an extremely beautiful day. If you hear some noise in the background, there's a stream about 40 yards away that's still filled with snow melt that's making a lot of noise. But onward and upward. So the hike is finished, and truth be told, I'm pretty beat. The distance actually came out to be about just a shade over 23 miles, and I'd hoped for 24, but 23 is pretty good. I feel like I've done every mile of that distance. I feel good though. I'm tired but good. As I said before, I would rate this hike, if the Grand Canyon hike is a 10, I would rate this hike a 7.5 to an 8. Started at a little under 5,000 feet, finished up a little mid 7,500, so the hike out at the Grand Canyon is going to be longer. But again, overall I feel good. The problem that I have, let me just show you my trusty Jeep. See if that comes out. The problem that I have is at about the 11-mile mark, I tripped over a rock and tweaked my right calf. And so that was causing me some pain the rest of the way, the last 12 miles of the hike. But it was bearable. No blisters, I'm really proud to report. And what I'm really happy about is that I did this hike in about 10 hours, a little over 10 hours. So I averaged overall about 2 hours or 2.3 miles an hour, including breaks. So, overall I'm pretty pleased with that. Frankly, I'm also pretty pleased that I didn't pick up any blisters. The only other thing I can say is that this particular hike has a lot of rocks in the last mile of the hike, and boy, I felt every one of them through the bottom of my feet. But 23 miles is a good distance. A month into training, I figured out a way that I can actually change this route and make it a 26-mile hike, which I'll probably do sometime at the end of this month or the beginning of the next month. But I'm going to keep on training and continue to make films while I'm training, and we'll see how I do across the summer.